Hello, everybody. I am Frank Data Di Lorenzo. Welcome to yet another edition of QuickLaunch Live, where we take 15 minutes or less and talk about important data-driven topics, data-driven tools, how to transform your data, all things data, to give you the insights to gain value in how you run your operations in your business. Data moves at the speed of light, and we need to be able to get our arms around it that quickly. So today we're going to kind of take a step back and go to the basics. And before I jump in, I love questions, so please use the comments panel for any questions. If you're with us live, please put a one in the chat. Hey, Ben, good morning. If you happen to go on our preferred strategies company LinkedIn page, and you watch these after the fact, just put a two so we knew you were there, and the recordings are adding some value to your day. If you'd like to reach out to us, you can put a three, or guess what? Just email any of us. Pick up the phone. Anybody at Preferred Strategies would be thrilled to talk to you about your data. That's what we do. So, morning, Adam. Welcome. So today we're going to just talk about some of the basics with getting started. Power BI, the desktop, downloading it and get going. So let's take a look at a few slides to kind of set this up, and then we'll take a look at the live solution. So Power BI desktop, getting started. And you notice I have a blue cube here. I'm going to keep referring to that because this really is a visual representing, I think, the power behind all these topics we discuss. And that's transforming your data so that you can truly unlock the power of the tools like Power BI, Excel, paginated reports, and be data driven. So you see that blue cube, that's just a reminder of your data transformed into a well governed data model. Okay. See if I can advance the slide. So if you recall from our other sessions, three main components to Power BI. We've got the desktop we'll touch on today. You publish Microsoft Smart. You download the desktop for free. I'm going to show you that in a moment. And then you can start creating your masterpiece, easy and free. But as I said, Microsoft Smart, they get you hooked on that data crack, quote unquote. And now you're dying to share your content. Well, now you need to publish it to the service, and that's where you need a license to access it. So Microsoft kind of gets you hooked and then get you on a license. But even the licenses are 10 or $20 per user per month, depending. So it's not so bad. And then, of course, we've touched on the mobile in the past. So, and I'll show you this too. You go to the Microsoft site, Microsoft.com, and you navigate to Power BI, and you'll see right here, download for free. Very straightforward, very simple. There's some nice resources here I'll just point out as well when I open the site for you. Power BI Desktop, so many data sources, so many training resources. One really beautiful thing with how Microsoft designed Power BI, it truly is data agnostic. You can import data from just about any data source. I'll open it up in a moment. When I click this button, you'll see a list of data sources, probably some you've never heard of. But data everywhere can be brought into Power BI. That's the good thing. But again, how do you bring in data that makes sense and you can use at the end of the day for your reporting? That's the other part of that equation. And then I put this out here just as a help. If anybody wants the slides that we present, just reach out to me. I'm happy to send these to you. This is a pretty nice cheat sheet, I thought, just in terms of designing a dashboard. So some of the things to consider, because one challenge I find, folks that are very good at crystal reports, Excel, that's a text-driven column row 2D type report. It's a different skill set when you start creating your visuals. So anything you can do to get comfortable and get your arms around that is a good thing. And then finally, I can commit to you that when you become data driven as a company, you'll take all that data, clean it, analyze it, and turn it into beautiful diamond like insights. I can't always guarantee you're going to use it properly. That's up to you. But in any event, certainly can commit the first three. So let's go ahead and take a look. So here I've navigated to the Microsoft Power BI site. There's all kinds of resources out here. And then I went right to the page where I could download for free. So that's the desktop I mentioned. And then under resources, there is some great topics here on business intelligence topics, um, learning, and more learning. So many resources to get your arms around Power BI. It's really a great thing. If you're still using, I don't know, some great older tools like Crystal Business Objects, you probably find that the resources might be a little more limited. You won't find that. It's quite the opposite here, which is exciting. So let's go ahead and take a look. So now you see my Power BI desktop, and in the desktop, see if I have any questions. Nope, thought I saw one. So I can import data from Excel, from SQL, of course. I can click here and say, let's get data from another source. Now it's spinning through its motions. It's going to pull up a long list for me. And you'll notice here, if I just scan this list, DB2, Oracle, of course, SQL, MySQL, Sybase, SAP, Snowflake, Azure, it goes on and on. So there's really, I'd be surprised if there's a data source that cannot be brought into Power BI. That's a beautiful thing with the flexibility. But as I mentioned, and I'm going to show just a quick example again, um, over and over, if you can't understand your data or understand the connections and the measures and how you can slice and dice by, for example, slicers like calendar, fiscal period, month to date, year to date, it becomes problematic. You're back to tossing it over the fence to IT to try and figure that out for you. So, but one of the other nice things here in terms of learning is I can say, bada boom, I'd like to try a sample data set. Load some sample data for me, please. It's connecting, it's doing its thing, it's going to give me an option. Fingers crossed, I hope. And it does. So I want financials. So let's load financials in there. Give it a moment. It's creating a nice model. You'll see the fields over here populate. And now we have financial data. Now I can start building my masterpiece. Pretty straightforward. These are measures that are all transformed and pretty easy to work with. I know what sales are. I want to see them. I understand the definition of sales price, maybe units sold, and maybe the profit. So now I've got all that nice data. I'm not looking at it by anything yet. And I could say, you know what, let me see that in a row kind of format or any visual that I so choose. So I'll leave the chart I had right here. But now I want to look at it by something. So let's say I want to look at that by product. So now you'll notice all the products down here. And it really is that easy for me to come through and start building out what I want to see, putting in the tool tips. We've touched on all these in prior sessions. Of course, like I said, you're happy to talk more if you want to understand what is a tool tip, what is a slicer, how can I drill down. But at the very basic, with the data easily transformed, I can go ahead and build a masterpiece or whatever report I want. And then a couple of the other things here while I'm doing this is um, if I wanted to, let's say, take this to a mobile, here's where I can do my mobile look of the data. So see how that looks like a phone. If I had multiple visuals, I can go ahead and build where I'm going to place that. And that is all good. I can build this however I like. So very mobile friendly. As soon as I hit save, it's on my mobile. It's tied to Siri. It's really, really pretty great. So if we come back out, say go back to my page view, I can save this and away I go. It's easy to play with this and learn. And there's a ton of sample data sources provided by Microsoft for you to be able to do just that. However, to my original point though, cool tool, very easy to use, very visual, a ton of visuals over here for you to choose, and an unlimited number of visuals, virtually unlimited, in the Microsoft Store that you can click here and go retrieve. And one thing I'll just show quickly there, I think we touched on this, but it's worth another mention, is types of visuals. What are you after? Are you looking at changes over time, comparisons, distributions, KPIs, excuse me. So you can really filter down what types of visuals you may want to bring in. Some are most of them are free, some have a small charge, but then you can bring that in and utilize it in your data creation, if you will. But, however, and I know I showed this one before, but this is a perfect time to reinsert this subject matter. Here, I want to build a nice report, and it took me a long time, but I was able to build something that I think looks pretty cool. But look at the data. I mean, it takes forever for me to understand what that even is. So I have to go through the exercise of learning this untransformed, I'll call it transactional ERP data, and what to do with it, and how to utilize it. And how do I know it's correct? And then if I want to get data from, let's just take an example. I want to get data from general ledger and accounts payable. How do I accomplish that here? And again, just so you see the visual, so that is data raw from an ERP database, this case Oracle. But here's data that's transformed. So if I say, geez, just like the example data we looked at a minute ago, what measures do I want? I mean, now it's limitless. It's very easy for me to understand. I know good and well what cost amount versus prior year to date is. I know what my per units mean. And so I've got all the measures very easy for me to work with. And then overriding all of this is the calendar again. So we spoke about that because you may want to be able to slice and dice this by some calendar dates. So much easier. I always recommend to folks take a hard look at building a data model versus buying one. Sometimes buying one is not an option. But if you're lucky enough that someone has gone through the hard work of creating a data model for whatever systems you use, I would take a hard look at it. It's a much quicker time to value for you. So that is really what I wanted to cover today. Oh, one last thing. Um, as I mentioned, I can download this for free. Everything I've done so far free. But now I want to publish it. And if I say save, now it's publishing it out to the service. And here's where anybody who wants to consume that would start to need to invoke a Power BI license. So it's going ahead and do its thing. And now it's asking me, where would I like to put that? I'll just put it in my own workspace. And now it's publishing this local desktop report out to the Power BI web service where I can go ahead and use it as I see fit. So there's a ton more we could show here. I'd love to open it up in the service, drill down, get excited, but we are already out of time. So let me go ahead and stop sharing for a moment. To summarize, Power BI Desktop, free to you, free to me. Go download it from Microsoft. Training, ton of tutorials and resources at your disposal. You can get your arms around some of the nuances of using Power BI, but now the next challenge, and probably most important, is what is the shape of our data? How do we get our data to where we can unlock the power of all these cool things that we see? So something to consider there. As I said, reach out to anybody at Preferred Strategies. We'd love to talk about your data. In the next few weeks, we're going to have some fun events on these QuickLaunch Lives. I'm going to introduce a few different partners to share their stories and their clients becoming data driven and what they recommend. And I'm real excited. I'm going to see if we can coax some of our BI consultants to come on and give us tips from the front line. What have they learned in helping clients unlock all this and implement a well-vetted data model in Power BI? Excuse me, Power BI. So that is it for today. I am Frank Data Di Lorenzo. Thank you for joining us. Go to the Preferred Strategies page in LinkedIn, follow us, comment, and reach out if you have questions. We love to educate, we love to share, and we'd love to earn your business if it makes sense to do so. Have a great day. Take care.